Alright guys, welcome to the 2024 Subaru Ascent Limited Edition. This one is one hell of a ride. It does come equipped with front view cameras, 360 cameras, so down here in all the mirrors, you get cameras on them as well as your backup camera. What that does is it stitches up a top-down view or a front view or a wheel view of when you're driving and lets you get 360 degrees of visibility. Not only that, these mirrors are auto-dimming. In the back seat, it does come equipped with a screen on both sides, so if you have younger ones that are going to be sitting back here, you don't have to worry about the sun blaring in their eyes, as well as cup holders down here and cup holders right here. You do have rear climate here. You can lock it from up front just in case your kids are younger and they want to go crazy, but you have a USB Type-C and a USB-A, as well as these two captain seats are heated, but they can control the climate back here individually, or you can take charge of it up front. Now, coming around the back, you can slide this seat forward and get into the third row. Over there we have two more USB ports, and something that's special about Subaru is that these back seats do allow you to install child seats, which I believe Subaru is the only brand. The Telluride and the Palisade doesn't do that. So if you do have a lot of kids and you plan on sitting them back here and utilizing this third row, that's something you might want to consider, that these do have the hookups for it. But the Ascent does come equipped with 19 cup holders in total. Not that you'd ever need that many drinks, but if you ever have that many at one time, you're taken care of. This is the trunk space. If you're not going to be using the third row, it does fold down flat, which I love right here. And then right underneath this all-weather floor mat, you do have an additional cargo area. These side panels do pop out. And the reason why is because this is your cargo cover. It installs into these square sockets on the side, but you never have to leave this in your garage anymore. You can always keep it with you. The spare tire is underneath the car, and then in this little compartment underneath the cargo covers, the tools and the instructions to drop it from the inside. Now, the Limited does come equipped with the Harman Kardon sound system. This is the subwoofer back here, which is great, and you do get rear power, so if you're into tailgating, you could be taken care of there. Closing the gate, walking around the side, you see the Subaru logo. At nighttime, what that is designed to do is to illuminate the sides of the car, so if you ever drop anything while approaching the car, the whole car is going to be illuminated. Unless it goes underneath the car, you wouldn't have to break out your cell phone flashlight, because you should be able to pick it up easily. Now, just to show you that these seats do fold flat, so if you have something a little bit bigger that you have to load up into the Ascent, you can get a lot of space out here. And if you want to go car camping, the only thing I would recommend is maybe laying a piece of plywood here so you can get rid of this gap. On the passenger side, you do have power seats, which is great. Power windows, you can lock and unlock the doors. Another Harman Kardon speaker, as well as tweeters up here on the dash, and one on the driver's side. I do love this little compartment here. You can put wallets, phones, other knickknacks, just so they don't have to live in the cup holder, and you can actually use the cup holders for what they're designed for. Huge storage compartment in the armrest. Up here, you do have a front view camera and an 11.6-inch touchscreen entertainment system, as well as a driver monitor system, which is really nice. Up here, you do have an auto dimming mirror as well, with garage buttons, so you can leave the clicker at home and just program the mirror to open up your house. Coming around the front, Subaru is standard now with its eyesight system, so adaptive cruise control, lane centering, and obstacle avoidance is all built into every automatic Subaru. Now, what's neat about the 24 Ascent is that it does have a third additional camera, which is going to be utilized for watching out for pedestrians, cyclists, when you're at crosswalks. If you can't tell, what this camera is able to do is actually tell by the way somebody's walking or by the way they're riding if they're going to blow through the crosswalk. If the car thinks that it's going to do that, it won't let you proceed, which is an additional layer of safety, as before we only had the top two cameras that they also had to do that job. But now that you got three and one dedicated just for wide angles, it doesn't get much better than that. Coming up here into the driver's seat, you do have a button here to open up the tailgate. This button turns on all the lights in the car, kind of like when you're on an airplane. And this allows you to adjust the brightness of your dashboard. This does come equipped with power mirrors, so if I press that in, you can see the mirrors fold in. So if you have a tighter garage, you don't have to worry about these bumping into stuff. Power windows up front, automatic up front. The passenger windows in the back are not automatic, but they are powered. You can also program seating here. You do have lumbar support, 10-way power seats, as well as a thigh support. All right, guys, we are now inside of the 2024 Ascent. Starting off over here, you do have programmable seats, as well as auto dimming side view mirrors, and this little knob that you see on the inside of this mirror is your blind spot monitor, which lights up really bright. But coming around here to the dashboard and the instrument cluster, this middle screen here is called your MFD, which stands for multifunction display. And if you hit this switch up and down, it gives you a whole bunch of useful information like compass, fuel economy, air pressure in your tires, and like how many miles you have till empty, which I find super handy. But everything on the right side of the steering wheel is going to be driving controls. Everything here is media and information in this display. So if I wanted to change songs, you see skip and go backwards, volume here, answer and hang up calls. This button doubles as Siri, and it also has an assistant built into the car through Subaru. So if you hate touching this big touchscreen and you don't like fingerprints, you can actually control the climate by talking to the assistant, which is super neat. Down here you have a heated steering wheel button, which is nice, and then up here on top you have paddle shifters, because you can go into a full manual mode, but it essentially deletes the clutch, so you don't have to worry about that third pedal, which is super nice. Now, coming over here to this side of the display, I already have my phone connected. This is Apple CarPlay, which I actually love. Right here, this screen gives you the GPS. This one does come equipped with GPS built into the car itself, but on lower trim models that don't have navigation built in, you can still use CarPlay, and it is connected wirelessly through your phone. Now you can listen to Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, whatever kind of streaming services you like to use, it will work through here. Now going to the home screen, you can have shortcuts for navigation or see what you're actively listening to. You also have access to your phone, messages, calendar. You can even order Domino's straight from your car if you have the app on your phone. And then you do have settings where you can go and adjust like the wallpaper if you want it in dark mode all the time, or if you even want the radio to show the album artwork. Going back here to system, I really love, and any apps that are compatible with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto will automatically show up here on your main screen. Coming down here, you do have climate control, which up here we have auto, recycle, air conditioning, then max AC, and it is tri-zone climate control. So if you run hot, you can have the driver's seat on full blast, and if whoever's sitting in the passenger seat runs cold, you can have it on full heat on the right side of the car. Something that I actually enjoy. And then if you have kids in the back, it does have its own zone of climate. You can lock it if you don't want them messing with the buttons, but if you have some older family back there that just want to get comfortable, you can unlock it, and there's a control panel back there where they can adjust everything on their end. Now, you do have heated seat buttons, and there's 3 levels of heat: high, medium, and low. But let's say you're on high and you just want to turn the seats off. You don't have to press it 3 times. If you actually hold it for a split second, it automatically disengages it. Now here you do have physical buttons just to change the temperature on your side of the vehicle and on the passenger side, as well as front defrost and rear defrost right here. You do have your volume knob and your tune when you're trying to change stations through the radio. Now up top you do have a driver monitor system, which I think is really nice. You can program profiles into here, and let's say when you're driving, if you're a 6 foot tall individual, you have the seat and the mirrors programmed in a certain way where you're comfortable. And if you take turns with somebody else driving, if they're a different height, let's say if they're a lot shorter than you, they can have their own profile loaded in. As soon as they sit in the driver's seat, it's going to automatically move the seats exactly where they want to be comfortable, as well as the side view mirrors. Now up here you do have buttons to program to your garage door opener, and this mirror here is auto dimming as well. You do have a sunglasses holder, but if you have kids as well, this doubles as a wide angle rear view mirror, so you can see what everybody's doing and still have a dedicated rear view mirror to look at traffic. Something I really like in the car, since it's a little bit bigger, sometimes it's hard to hear people in the back. So there is this feature called Cabin Connect, and once it's connected, you can kind of hear that my voice is amplified, and everybody who's in the back can hear me just as well as the person who's sitting next to me. Down here we have automatic vehicle hold, which when you're using adaptive cruise control, this car will come to a complete stop by itself, and it'll also hold the brakes for you, and that's what AVH stands for. Automatic vehicle hold means that the car is going to be holding the brakes for you. It does also work when you're not using adaptive cruise control. You just have to have it on, and if you press the brake long enough, you'll see this light here turn green, and that lets you know that the car is actively engaging in keeping the vehicle from moving. Now this button down here that looks like a car is your vehicle controls, and it's kind of a shortcut because you can also access this through the main settings, but when you're out and about, instead of going through different menus, this is a shortcut that takes you to vehicle controls, driving assistance controls, and a couple more settings such as volume. And if you for some reason want to change this to kilometers instead of miles, you can do that as well. But driving assistance really nice, pre-collision braking, lane departure, and rear vehicle detection, and rear cross traffic alert. The driver monitor system just makes sure that you're focused on the road, but without that on, you can't use the feature that automatically adjusts the seats for you. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. If you hate it screaming at you if you look left and right a lot, you'll also lose access to that specific feature where it adjusts the seats for you. But not to fret, you can always program 2 different seating positions for you and your co-pilot. Down here you do have a shortcut to add phones to your system, and you can also tab through Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, or just keep it hooked up with traditional old school Bluetooth if you don't care for any of those features. Here's the profiles that you can set up. If I wanted to add one specifically for me, I'll set up the language, program my name and my phone, pair it so when I sit in the car and this scans me, it opens up my home screen and automatically connects my phone. The built-in GPS is really nice, because unlike Apple CarPlay, you can make this map a little bit bigger by taking this top banner away with this button up here. But what I really like is that it gives you the ability to pinch to zoom, and I also like that it doesn't give me a whole bunch of advertising. I don't know where all the McDonald's and Starbucks are. So if you want a little bit of a minimalistic approach to your navigation system, this is what I usually use. But I also do use Apple CarPlay and Apple Maps because I have shortcuts already programmed in. But if you want to program your own shortcuts, you can add favorites here and add home and your work addresses, so it could be just as efficient as your phone. You can go from top-down view to a 3D navigation mode, and what's really cool is that if you go down into Atlanta, it'll actually show you 3D buildings of what's actually around you. Now here we have it fixed north, or this is fixed to the car itself. This is fixed to north. So with this here, you won't see the map rotate, but your vehicle will rotate and show you exactly which direction you're heading. So the top of the screen's north, the bottom is south, the right is east, and the left is west. You can also add cool shortcuts to your favorite radio station, your favorite media your favorite contacts. So if you need to call mom, or if you need to call your wife or your husband, you can have a button on your dashboard that's dedicated to just dialing out, as well as making custom shortcuts to certain apps and custom shortcuts to certain settings in the vehicle if you don't want to dive through that intensive menu. But going into the vehicle settings right here, this is the full-fledged settings menu where you get a whole bunch of general controls. You can even program anniversaries and birthday reminders. You can tune your sound system right here. You can set up certain parameters for your navigation. So if you want to avoid toll roads, you can set that up through here. Phone settings, radio settings, and car settings. This is going to be most similar to this setting menu right here, but this might give you a couple of more options. This one, remember, it's just a shortcut that gives you the most used features. Up here at the top, you do have a banner that gives you a whole bunch of information, such as what you're currently listening to. If we were on a main road, it would update with the road that we're physically on. You can toggle these three options up here to give you different information, but right now it's set up for my acceleration percentage, fuel consumption, and what angle my car is at. My favorite feature is the weather up here, because if you're the type of person to go on hikes, you can tell what the weather is going to be in Dahlonega, Georgia. If you have the route set up for Dahlonega, it'll tell you what the weather is 3 hours from now, 6 hours from now, depending on how long it's going to be until you actually get there. Up here you do have X mode, which is kind of for more sketchy situations, because this vehicle is all-wheel drive. But if you wanted another layer of confidence, the X mode is really great at doing that. What it does is that it separates the power that goes to all four wheels and makes sure that if there's one wheel that's not making traction, it'll cut it off and send that additional power to the rest of the wheels on the vehicle. Additionally, it will also act as a hill descent control. So if you're off-roading and you're coming across a really steep hill that you don't feel too comfortable managing the brakes and the line, you can put it in X mode and it'll keep it at the speed that you're going in, and all you have to do is worry about steering. Now, back here at this screen, I accidentally clicked it. If you click it, it'll give you a more in detail setup of what the actual weather is. So like current weather, 3 to 6 hours from now, 5-day weather, or along your route, which is really, really handy. You can set up certain alerts with SiriusXM, find super near parking, fuel prices. So when, you know, every now and then when gas gets super expensive, you can actually find the cheapest gas around by playing with this menu here. You can keep up to date with your favorite sports teams and what the stock market is doing, but you'd have to log in for that. Starting this test drive out, we're gonna come out here, and we are located at Subaru of Gwinnett. So if you ever want to come by for an in-person test drive to physically put your hands on the car, you can give me a call. We're located right here off of Satellite Boulevard. What I want to do is take this opportunity to show you some of the driving assistant features, which some people think that it's only for the highway. I actually use these features everywhere I go in my personal Ascent. So local roads, highways, even small neighborhoods. If you need to set your speed limit to 15 miles an hour, it'll do it for you. And what I love most about it is that it'll keep you going with the flow of traffic. So if traffic is going 45 miles an hour and out of nowhere they start going 20 miles an hour, the car will actually slow down for you. And once traffic picks back up, it'll resume the drive. So here I'm gonna press this button. I'm gonna set up my speed. And the best way to demonstrate this is to have a vehicle in front of you, just so if they press the brakes, I can actually show off that the car is stopping by itself as well. And while we're at this stop, we can take this moment to admire like this fishbowl. Subarus have a really narrow A-pillar, which gives you very, very good visibility, as well as this little extra window right here, which is something that not a lot of people think about, but other brands don't have this. And with Subarus, it just gives you additional visibility right here. So back to the eyesight adaptive cruise control system. Right now I'm going 50 miles an hour. If I flick up on this switch, it'll maintain that speed for me. And let's say if I get behind this gentleman right here, my car is actually going to start slowing down because it recognizes right here that there's a vehicle in front of me. So he's going to start hitting his brakes. I'm not touching my brakes. The car's slowing down by itself. And like I said, I use this everywhere I go. Forget about it. Road trips, this is like a dream come true. And traffic, especially if you have the kids in the car, it makes it a lot more tolerable, especially if they're talking and they're asking when are we there. This car just manages the brakes and the gas for you, and even if it comes to a complete stop, like I said, it'll resume the drive once traffic starts moving if you flick this switch up or you just give the pedal a tiny little push. One of my favorite things about the Ascent is maybe the engine, because it does come with the same engine as the WRX. And if you're not familiar with that, that's our performance car. It's an all-wheel drive rally machine. So it's good in any climate, but it's turbocharged. The nice thing about the Ascent is that it doesn't require premium like the WRX does. So even though this has a turbocharged engine, you don't have to fret about putting premium fuel in here. And right now, I didn't stop the car. You didn't see this leg move at all. I'm not even holding the brakes. This light is green right here. So you know the car is holding the brakes for me. And this is the perfect opportunity to show you that it resumes the drive for you. So I'm gonna flick up on the switch. And just like that, magic. Or actually super advanced technology. But Subaru's always ahead of the curve with this kind of stuff, and we're the only manufacturer that actually has 2 sets of cameras. And now with the 24, like I mentioned earlier, that it has a 3rd camera, but the 2 cameras that are dedicated to the adaptive cruise control, they have the ability to actually gauge depth. Just like us, since we have 2 eyeballs, we have real depth perception. Unless you have some type of condition where you need glasses, these have perfect eyesight, so you don't ever have to worry about that. It's like always having a co-pilot. And like right now, they're pressing the brakes, I'm not pressing the brakes. One of my favorite features. Here in a second, we do have to get over 1 lane just so we can make sure we get on the highway where we need to be so we can get back to the dealership. Something to keep in mind is that if you were in front of the line of traffic, so if you're the first person in the line of traffic, these cameras, they don't look for traffic lights, stop signs. They only look for cars, pedestrians, and obstructions, animals, things like that. So if you're in the front of the line, you will have to engage the brakes. I try to describe it like a Tesla car, and Subaru doesn't ever want the car to be a Tesla. They just want to make your driving experience a little bit easier, but they don't want to take you out of control of the vehicle. So this is just here to keep you safe. Now, it is an extremely capable vehicle as well. It has a tow capacity of about 5,000 pounds. So if you're ever planning on pulling a trailer or going camping with one of those pop-up campers, this has more than enough power to pull one of those along. And it is turbocharged, so right now I'm pressing on the gas. It picks up very quick, and it is a safe acceleration with the all-wheel drive. You don't feel like you might get backspin or any type of wobble response from the vehicle itself. Since all of the wheels move at the same time, there's a lot of confidence behind the power in this vehicle. upped the speed limit to 65. It's actually 70, so let's go 70. Now we are heading 85 south right now. We're gonna get off at Boggs Road. If you're ever heading 85 south to come see us, this is gonna be a good demonstration of how to get to our dealership as well. And I kind of want to show this off. This Xterra in front of us is going to start slowing down. And right now, my Ascent is slowing down as well. It was a pretty quick turn back there. But that's what the wide angle camera is good for. It was still able to keep that car in its visibility where these cameras are just looking straight. And I'm not holding the brake right. We had a mishap. My camera died in the little mount, so now I'm holding it with one hand. But we're almost back to the dealership. Something to keep note of is that once you tap the brakes, it will disengage eyesight. It won't turn it off, but it won't actively be running. So if you accidentally touch the brakes while using this feature, just remember that you'll see this little green logo down here turn off, and that's going to let you know that you're in full control of the vehicle. Something that's really nice is that there is lane keep too. So if I press this button that looks like a little steering wheel, you'll see it show up here, and I'll give you a demonstration. If I try to leave this lane, it'll bounce me back in and keep me perfectly balanced. If I hit the blinker, it'll actually let me go. But if I try to turn without pressing the blinker, it won't actually let me get over into that lane. It'll think that I'm not noticing what's going on, and it'll try to correct me. So we're back here at Subaru Gwinnett. I do want to thank you guys for joining me on this test drive. My name's Anthony Castillo. If you guys ever want to set up a time to come by and look at these vehicles firsthand, please give me a call. My phone number is 678-973-7912.